Okay, it's 5:25, and we'll have more of Country Classics. Right now, it's time for James Arness from Gunsmoke. This is Steve Brewer for Country Classics. My special honored guest this week played the famous role of Marshal Matt Dillon on the longest-running television Western series Gunsmoke, which ran on CBS for 20 years. Yes, I'm speaking of the big man himself, Mr. James Arness. Mr. Arness, welcome to Country Classics.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here talking to you.
Thank you. And one of the reasons I had invited you here today to share with our listeners about the big gala for your favorite charity, United Cerebral Palsy, that will be taking place this Sunday, March 30th, at the Beverly Hills Hotel in California. And we'll talk more about that toward the end of the interview.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Now, I see, Mr. Arness, you are from originally Minneapolis, Minnesota.
That's right.
And you are of German and Norwegian descent.
This is correct. I actually worked on a radio station there before I came out to Hollywood.
I see. And also that you are the older brother of fellow actor Peter Graves.
That's right, too. You bet. He changed his last name when he came out here.
Was that so the public wouldn't get you too confused?
I think so.
I see. Okay. I also wanted to salute you as a veteran who served during World War II with the U.S. 3rd Infantry Division, and you... Go ahead.
Yes, you're right, Steve.
And you were severely wounded, I see, during Operation Shingo, leading to a lifelong slight limp.
Well, that's true. I did get a serious wound there. I was in the hospital for a year and a half, and it still bothers me some. I'm 85 now, and from time to time, it's hard to walk like I used to and things like that, you know.
Right. Would you mind, if you can, recounting that interesting story of how your squad, the 2nd Platoon, Company E, 2nd Battalion, 7th Infantry, engaged an enemy machine gun in a farmhouse? Can you recall that?
I certainly do.
Okay.
It was a day that we were pinned down by a sort of a German machine gun nest in a farmhouse. And myself and another guy were ordered to go up there and try to get up the stairs, which in those Italian farmhouses was usually... That was the day, and we had to get up there, and it was no fun. We got up there and fired in there, and, you know, that was it. We fortunately prevailed on that instance and got back down.
It sounds like a Gunsmoke episode there. Marshal Dillon moving in.
Right.
You're right.
That's for sure.
And I really found this interesting. Due to your height, at the time 6 feet 7 inches, acting as a depth finder, you were first ordered off your landing craft to determine the depth of the water, and it had come up to your waistline.
Yes, that's true too, Steve. They ordered me that we were on an LCI, and they have these ramps that lower down into the water, and they made me go off first. They didn't know. They said if I went in over my head, they'd have to land somewhere else.
Yeah, I see. Also, you received the Bronze Star, I see, the Purple Heart, the European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal with 3 bronze campaign stars, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Combat Infantryman Badge. Wow, you were really a decorated veteran there, I see.
My goodness, well, you certainly did your homework there. I do have those medals, and they're precious to me and my family. I want to pass them down to the next generation when I go, you know.
Yes, and I salute you, sir, as a veteran. Yeah. If you're just tuning in, I'm host of Country Classics. If you're just tuning in, I'm Steve Brewer, host of Country Classics, and we're in... I'm Steve Brewer, host of Country... And Mr. Arness is discussing his famous role as the Marshal of Dodge City, Kansas, during the rugged days of the cattle drives and westward expansion. Now we'll kind of move on into your acting career, and tell us how you got out of the service. What led you to Hollywood, I guess, more or less to say.
Well, I went back home when I was discharged from the Army. I went back to Minneapolis, and as I say, I sort of fell into a deal. Somebody just said I had a good speaking voice or something. I don't know about that, but I got a job as a radio announcer, and I worked there for several months. But then a friend of mine came home from the Navy, and this was just around Christmas, and there was about 6 feet of snow on the ground there, and so we were having dinner downtown, and he said to me he knew somebody from California who'd been in the Navy, and he said, we ought to head out to L.A. there. This is crazy to be sitting around in just blizzards and stuff. So that's what we did, and we came out here, and it was wonderful, walk around in your shirt sleeves at night and stuff, and it was great. Been here ever since.
And that was some 60 years ago, I guess, I'm guessing.
Pardon?
And I guess that was some 60 years ago we're talking about, right? Probably.
That was 1946 that I arrived out here.
Over 60 years then.
Yeah, close to 60.
Wow. Though primarily identified with Westerns, you appeared in 2 science fiction films, The Thing from Another World and Them. And I, as a kid, remember seeing that, The Thing from Another World, and that was probably the scariest movie at the time I had ever seen. You did a good job playing that alien.
Well, thank you, Steve.
Being a close friend at the time with John Wayne, you co-starred with him in a few films, like Big Jim McLean, Hondo, Island in the Sky, and The Sea Chase.
That's right.
And
I was actually, Steve, under contract to his company for about 3 years.
I see. And
just prior to Gunsmoke.
Okay. And it's reported Wayne said that when he imagined Marshall Dillon, he saw you, Mr. Arness, and Wayne even did a television show spot introducing you in the role. We're going to hear that right now.
Oh, wonderful.